Oh, gosh. Well, thanks for meeting with me.
Thanks, firstly, thank you very much for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
Of course. Of course. I'm excited to talk. Let's go. What do you want to talk about first?
So, we are missing, you're quite busy, and finally we got connected. I'm very happy. I want
Yeah.
to tell about you and the work that you are doing to my audience, and so that you can inspire a lot of people on this planet.
Yeah, I mean, sure. This sounds perfect, right? And it takes the active one to start a movement, right? So why not us?
Yes. So, before that, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Sidney Miller. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, in the United States of America. Goodness, what do you want to know? I could tell you a ton, but I guess I'll tell you what I do for a living because I think that's one of the reasons why we're here. Um, and just FYI, before anybody starts we just need to understand that this is an active working work from home situation where I have a kiddo home today. So if you see things in the background, this is just kind of like the new norm, right? So just FYI, everyone, there could be people behind me because my family is home. But just one of those wonderful parts of this time is the togetherness, right? So just FYI, in case you see people behind me, it's my family, which they're a huge piece of my life. Um, and I think I fight as hard as I do in the tech space because of them. I have three little girls, and they're all STEM oriented. So for me, being in the situation where I'm an inclusionist, right, in the hiring practice within software engineering and within tech, all up. It's important for me to tie those two things specifically together because I serve the underserved populations here in the United States in tech, which there's several categories, but I focus most on LGBTQIA plus trans in engineering, as well as women and those of color. So veterans, people with disabilities as well, but my focus is really on those that are the most underserved. And that for me is the trans population. So I work with getting people jobs in tech. That's pretty much what I do.
So you help a lot of people to grow their career and improve their skills and be the reason for their happy life.
I, you know, for yes, because when you work with people in the hiring space in tech, it's really important to understand that you're not just hiring a skill set, right? You're hiring a whole human being. And when you lose sight of that as a company or as an organization, you're completely dead in the water as far as I'm concerned. Because when you start looking at people as code and the monetization of that code, right? Because code produces products, products produce revenue. When you only see a person for what they can give you versus what they are, then that's where problems start as far as culturally, personally, business oriented problems start coming up, because you're not seeing the point of view from the person. You're just looking at the code sets, right? Which is important. Not going to say it's not. But what we've done over time in tech has lost sight of the person and the human who has specific needs, has specific challenges, has specific opinions, deserves to be safe in an environment, which there's a lot of unsafe environments in tech. It's just, that's another thing. Like, another thing about me is that I talk about the real problems. So We rip all sorts of band-aids off with me so we can look at the problem to solve it versus being like, no, you did this and you did that and the blame game, and people are mad and people are quitting and it's a hostile work environment and people are fighting. It happens. And if you're in tech, you've probably witnessed it once or twice, disagreements in code review, or personal issues. The world's on fire right now, right? So a lot of this stuff is bubbling back up because we started to say, and this is a family show, right? I swear a little bit. So hopefully if it comes out, I'm sorry. This is the big apology up front. But but it's really about being human again. And humanity is, I think, bubbling up in a lot of different ways. People are mad because humanity is a certain way. People are really grateful because there's issues are being really talked about, and that's the point. See the person, because we all have the right to be seen and heard, right?
So tell me more about your work experience.
My work experience, goodness. Well, geez, I started. Do you want me to like go way back? You want me to start from the beginning? Because holy cow. Okay. All right. So I fell into tech. It was not something I went after. So I went to university. I was fortunate enough and privileged enough to go to university, and I graduated with a degree in fashion. And I went to work for corporate Neiman Marcus out of Dallas, Texas, in the US. And Neiman Marcus is a very high-end specialty store here, kind of like what I would say like a Harrods is in England, right? Very, very, really, really nice stuff, luxury, right? And I decided when I got there, I thought it was going to be this amazing experience for me. It was, but it was also the most growth I've ever done because I figured out all the studying that I had done and all the stuff that I was doing, and the work I was doing was not me. It wasn't who I was at all. So what I did is I, like most people in the world, you throw out a million resumes, right? And that was back in the day when it was back in the day when you had fax machines, right? So I faxed probably hundreds of resumes out, and a recruiting firm called me and said, "Hey, we think you're interesting. Like, why don't you come in?" They hired me, and that was the beginning of my recruiting experience in tech. And my first client was Sun Microsystems, and I started in Java engineering, backend stack engineering, and it just took off for me. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if I never understood that I was a STEM brain, a super nerd, if you will, an engineer. I should have been an engineer now that I think about it, because, could I be an engineer? Yeah, now, but I love the fact that I get to work with the world's best engineers in the capacity that I am right now. So anyways, long story short, Sun Microsystems, Java engineers, and then I moved back to Phoenix, Arizona, and got married, and just was on the recruiting side for about 10 years until Google called me. And at that time, that was in 2007, Google was just getting really big, and it was so much fun. So I was there for about a year, and they decided to close the office I was in. And so I ended up thinking, well, what am I going to do? I can't move to San Francisco, right? Because I had just found out that I was with child for the first time, and my whole family's here, right? So this was back in 2008. And I was like, I can't move to San Francisco or to Mountain View. So I ended up picking up a contract at Microsoft where I could work from home. And that was the first experience of me from working remote. So I have been a remote worker since 2008 in tech, which is a long time, right? So I was at Microsoft working on back end engineering and also network infrastructure. And that was real fun because network infrastructure wasn't totally in my wheelhouse. But yeah, so that's where I started with kind of all that, right, with Microsoft. And then I had my child, stayed home for a little bit, couldn't sit still. So I started this really funny. I don't think it's not funny. It actually was really, really cool. I became a kind of an entrepreneur and I started a small business and I sold these cookies. I have a very scientific brain where chemistry is, again, I got an A in advanced chemistry in college, but never did anything with it. So, I should have done it. And that was one of those hard classes in my university where if you take that class, then and you pass it, then you're going to be a scientist. Like you're a smarty pants, right? You know what you're doing. And I did it, right? I went into fashion. So anyways, so baking is very much chemistry. So I created this recipe for me because I was like in search of the world's best cookie for me. And apparently other people liked it so much that I turned it into a business and became one of the most successful cookie companies in Phoenix during my at-home time with my child, which blows my mind. Like, and so it was getting really big, and I was in 13 grocery stores of like high-end grocery stores here in Phoenix. And I had a lot of really great learning experiences through being a small business owner and also being an entrepreneur, because it teaches you a lot about yourself. It teaches you a ton about your grit and your commitment, and also how far you're really willing to reach for a dream, right? So 2008 was a really tough kind of time, 2008 to 2009, because of here in the Americas, there was the whole recession. And so when organizations started hiring back in about 2009, 2010, a company called Brocade Communications, which is a network infrastructure company, called me and said, "Hey, I hear that you're really, awesome at what you do. Would you want to come back?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm doing this thing, and whatever." And they told me how much I would make, and I was like, "When do I start?" So they pulled me out of retirement. It was really great, like having something where I could work for someone and go back to my roots in recruiting and get back to tech. And so I did that, and then I was picked up from Microsoft again, because I believe the story is told to me is that they heard that I was working again. And so I went to Microsoft on a contract and worked in the Bing services team. So remember when they had the Nokia phones and the Nokia acquisition several years ago? I was on the team that was working on the search technology, but also the tiles that would show up on the Microsoft phone. So that was really cool, right? And so I was at Microsoft for quite a while. I had a set of twins. So beautiful, amazing family that we're growing. And I'm gonna be honest, I got burned out at Microsoft. I did. And it's not, I'm not gonna say it's anyone's fault. It just happens, right? So you work. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need a break, right? So I resigned, and decided to take some time. And during that time, Apple called and said, "Hey, we heard that you're on the market." And I was like, "Well, I'm not really on the market yet, but what you got going on?" So I ended up going to Apple 6 weeks later, because they allowed me to take some time, which, thank you, which I was grateful for, to kind of just reset, take a break, take a breath from tech, and it was really amazing. And I decided, you know what, let's do a contract because of where we're at and just all of that. So, and I'm really a true advocate for contract work as well as full-time work. So I think that's important to my story because I've done both, and I've done both almost the equal amount of time through my career. So, and I love people who consider contract, because there's a certain there's a certain kind of pathway for people that way, right? And in recruiting, it's really cool when you can have the option to hire people in different manners, right? Versus full time versus contract versus consulting. There's all these different ways, all these different pathways. Anyways, so long story short, I was at Apple for a year, and I built the Apple Pay team on the back end services side. So that was a huge challenge, right? I was part of the team that built that. I don't want to take all the credit, but I hired several engineers that were specific to the card sets of Apple Pay. And that was really neat, really challenging. I've never done anything like that before. And then, it'd been a year, and I decided, maybe it's time for me to look at this. And I've been at some really amazing large companies. What's going on in the startup world? What have I done? And have I done anything in the startup world? No, nope. So I picked up a contract helping a company called Livongo, which now has gotten so big, and I'm so proud of them because they went, I believe they either got bought or they went public. And sorry, Livongo, I should have probably known this, but I'm human, right? And that was, oh God, that was so cool because there was about 35 people in the company when I started, I believe, right around there, 35 to 50. Let's just be honest. And I helped them kind of get their recruiting in place. And then that was a short contract. And then I took another contract in a startup and another contract in a startup doing the same thing. So what I did is I was balancing my corporate experience and also my vendor side consulting kind of experience with startup experience. Okay. Was that, I'm not going to list all the places, and that's okay. But I think the most I was at GitHub for 2 years. I arrived there in 2017 and left in 2019 after the Microsoft acquisition, because I had already worked at Microsoft several times. I did some amazing work at GitHub, and it was time for me, to look other places. So the time at GitHub was really amazing. I worked with some of the world's most beautiful people. I could say the world's best engineers, the smartest people in the world, the most beautiful people, because they were from all different parts of the world, right? It wasn't just hiring engineering for San Francisco to build products just for San Francisco. We built products that served the world, and we had all the world's viewpoints in it. And that was so dope. It was so great. And I cannot take any of the credit. It was a collaborative effort with a lot of smart human beings. And we did some really killer hiring. Yeah. So flash forward, I did a small stint at Amazon because Amazon, serious. That's my opinion. People have them. I've got my opinion. And I quit. I quit after 7 months, and then took a 6-month break, and then got hired at Packet, which was acquired by Equinix. And so now I'm still at Equinix, building the cloud, as well as managing the strategic sourcing team here. And so there you go. Was that good?
It's fantastic. You started from fashion, and you ended somewhere. It's it's like a rainbow. You have all the colors.
I love that. Given the work that I do with the LGBTQIA and community, I'm totally okay with being a rainbow. I love that. That's such a great analogy. Yeah, I've done a lot of different things, and I think I'm so full of gratitude because of that. Because when you look across your work history and what you do, you should be able to have all these different experiences to pull from to really round out how do I say this? To round out a very accepting and empathetic environment. And through that is how beautiful things are made. Is because when people are allowed to be themselves and have Collaborative disagreement. There's a difference between ego and collaborative disagreement. So when you create a space full of empathy and the world, because if you don't have people on your team that come from different parts of the world, different walks of life, you're never going to have a product that is amazing. Because why would we assume that anything that's made, I always pick on San Francisco because why not? Because it's San Francisco and it's Silicon Valley and that's where lots of tech is why would we assume that people who grew up in San Francisco, went to college in San Francisco or boot camps or anything like that, and have only been in San Francisco, and you create a team that only has had that one experience, you don't get different viewpoints. You don't get the ability to push the code sets further through collaborative disagreement, right? And I want to be clear here, that's disagreement is not a negative thing. It just stretches people's minds to see other ways, and solutions are met that way, right? And when you give people the opportunity to truly be like, well, I see it a little bit differently. Maybe we could do this. And they're like, oh, that's a great point. What about this? And people step out of their ego instead of like, well, my way is, the best way. And I went to Harvard and I went to MIT and I went to Stanford and I went to, all these amazing, not saying any organizations because they're awesome, but you throw your weight around like that, because that stifles the production of the code and the production of the thing that you're there to create, right? And when you have people on the teams from, like I said, different socioeconomics, different parts, they have different color faces, they have different orientations, you are able to bring those voices through to your product. And the world appreciates that in nuance. And that's a hard thing to do. I have a cuckoo clock. I'm known for it too. So I'm glad you can have it. Here you are, everybody. Here's my cuckoo. And I got to give a shout out to Team Cuckoo at GitHub for this, and they'll know what that means since we're here. But yeah, so I hope that answered your question.
You worked in 3 different perspectives. You worked in Apple, you worked in Google, you worked in Microsoft, and all 3 are 3 different ways of working. And also, I can understand that you worked with different country people, having different kinds of ideologies, philosophies, thoughts, experiences. So can I say you are the mixture of everything in the world?
You know what? Yeah, in my domain space, yes, I can. You can say, because I've worked in APAC, I've worked in Europe, I've worked in specific pieces of those regions, and I've worked all up and down of the Americas, and in our time zones. And when you're a student of the world, I believe it's easier for you to understand where people are coming from. And I have to blame this on my parents. You have to be kind. You have to be. You just, period, end of story, right? Because much like you and much like me for you, we could be going through something really big that's not going to translate through here. That it could be really hard as a human being. And until we realize that the other person on the end of the call may be carrying something that is tough, and not being able to kind of step out of your own way and be like, you know what, they might be having a bad day, or there might be something big going on. I'm just going to be kind. I'm going to be nice. It's a lost art, because people are hard charging, want to succeed. You can do all those things by being kind. You don't have to always be forceful, negative, mean, degrading, all of those things that happen, right? You do not have to do that. It's a choice, and it's a choice with every conversation that you start. It's not a daily thing, it's a person thing. So with every person you interact with, it's a choice to be kind. And if you can start there, and I'm not saying you can't get angry, you can't get mad, you can't do this, you can't have feelings. You can have all those things, but if you remain kind, you will find resolve, right? It should be that simple. And I have to blame that on my parents. And, God bless my mom. She passed of COVID in December of last year. She really was the shining light for me on that.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm not the only one in the world that lost somebody to this awful, awful disease. So, as much as it kills me inside that she's no longer with us, I know that it's a shared experience to millions of people across this globe. So if you are a person who has lost somebody to COVID, I honor you and understand you. So there's that.
Your mother's experiences, the time that you spent, the contribution that she gave you, I'm sure that you continue carry that positive energy in you and create more positive energy and affect the world and people like me and people who are listening to us. They will learn from you and get benefit and grow and improve themselves in life. And your mom is alive in all these people.
Yeah. You know why? Because it's true. And it's an honor for me to carry that light forward for her. Right. And I hope that people see that in me, in respect to her, even though they don't know her. But, when you look across people, the people around them really create who they are. Right. And for me, I feel really lucky. I feel really lucky to be in the places that I've been, met the amazing people, had such an amazing parenting experience. And I'm very lucky. I feel grateful for that because not everybody gets along with their families. Some people don't, and that's okay because that's their situation to deal with. It's not my job to comment on it, really, because I don't want people commenting on mine, even though I try to come from a very kind place. Now, if you mess with my people, I turn into a honey badger, and that's another story. But, like if my underserved populations, if you're going to mess around with them in a hiring practice, oh, heck no, I am totally putting my foot down. And, we will work through it. We won't fight about it. We will resolve because I will be kind and appropriate and respectful to a point, right? But if somebody's coming at me, I'm going to go back at it because that's a natural, communication kind of scenario. But, if you try and remain calm and in your resolve for it, it's going to work, right? It should. And if it doesn't, then you know exactly who you're dealing with. In the next opportunity to work with that person, you're going to change the way that you work with them. So I don't know.
So whatever you said, my mom says the same. Be kind, try to be kind, try to be calm, try to wait, be patient. Everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be good. You will get what you want if you be patient. My mom says the same. That's the same you said.
She sounds like an amazing woman.
Yeah, she got affected with cancer. And she's getting treatment.
Oh gosh. So first of all, I'm here for you if you ever need to talk, because there is nothing harder than going through a parent who is sick. It's just not a natural situation. So we can talk offline if you want. I'm here for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Your words means a lot to me.
Yeah. So what else? What else are you interested in? We got all sorts of things we can talk about.
So it's inspiring how you are able to be extraordinary in everything. You are talking with the machine. You are a full stack developer, and you are very good in that. And you are able to communicate with different people, human beings. You are doing that, and you started your own business and you got success in that, and you are kid for your children, so you're doing that. So how you are able to be maintain this and handle this, and what is working, what is your secret, what is making things possible for you?
I have really strict boundaries. Really strict boundaries. Like, I have no company anything on my cell phone. I don't use a company cell phone, and it's part of my hiring plan that I will not put Slack, email, internal systems on my phone. The reason why is because when I'm with my family, I'm with my family, and no one else gets that time. No one, except for them, because they're that important. And I'm not saying that work isn't important, but overworking is not the way to do it. I have done that. I have worked hours on my phone into the night. I won't do it anymore. It's a huge boundary for me. Absolutely not. I will not do it. And if that's going to be a contingency on the way that I work, I might not take the job, because you've got to carve out your space. And that's the only way. I'm exhausted. Holy cow. I mean, but who isn't? Who's not exhausted in their own way, right? I could be like, oh, woe is me. I'm this and I'm that, and I'm so busy and I'm this and I get to do these. No, nope. No. It's, I know what I'm allowing myself to accept as okay. And that's a hard place to get, because a lot of people want to be, overly kind and then get stepped on, right? Or get taken advantage of, or are seen as, oh, they can work really hard, let's give them more work, right? Instead of saying, how are they doing? Are they tired? Are they working too much? Are they frying out? Are they flying too close to the sun and getting crispy on burnout? I've been there. I've done that. And once you get to that place, it is really hard to get out of it. And I won't let myself go back there. So I have huge boundaries of things that I'm willing to accept in the workplace. And if they're not met, I mean, there's no reason why you should stay.
So your connection with Equinix Metal.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. So Equinix Metal. Yes. I love them. I love it. I love it so much. We have so much fun. Such a great group. So Equinix Metal was Packet. And Packet started in 2014 in New York City. And it's, I have a really cool story. I don't know how much time do we have? How much time are we doing this? An hour?
No limit.
So 3 days. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I mean, we could just chill and drink coffee all day. I don't know. I could. So after I quit Amazon and took 6 months because I was like fried, I got real vulnerable and did what I tell people to do is leave yourself open to opportunity. So you and I met through Twitter, right? So I've got all this really great experience. I helped build GitHub for the sale to Microsoft. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny that success for me, because I did that with a lot of really amazing people. It wasn't just me. I want to be very clear on that. But I was very instrumental in growing the interface layer, interface layer to the data center in the back end of GitHub, okay? And all the things that flow in between that, right? Back end, machine learning, data science, all those groups are the ones that I hired for. Oh man. I'm just thinking. There's so much swirling around here. I'm so sorry. And now I need coffee, and I lost my train of thought because remember, we're human beings. And it's 8:30 in the morning here. So okay, so sorry everybody in the world. This is a human moment. I totally just lost my train of thought, which I guess is kind of cool to show that you can actually lose a train of thought in the middle of a podcast and then all of a sudden come back. So I don't remember what I was saying, to be honest with you, and that's okay. But I've got so much excitement rolling around in my head. What were we talking about?
So you was telling about Equinix metal.
There, thank you. I got too excited about everything. I mean, it's just a really cool story, and my Twitter story. Okay, so the way that I got to Equinix Metal, this is hilarious. Thank you for dealing with me right now. But the way that I got to Equinix Metal was through Packet, and I went to Twitter, and the reason why I brought life, but the one I'm most proud of is what I achieved with a bunch of really amazing people at GitHub. And I basically put chunks of my resume under that tweet in subtweets. And the folks that I helped over the last 10 years really rallied to my side and retweeted and commented and said, you know, I am who I am and I'm legit. And if you want to grow your tech team quick, you know, Sidney's the one. And so that's how I got to Packet, is because Dizzy Smith, who is amazing. He's one of the most amazing leaders I've ever met in tech. He picked me up out of a referral from an amazing engineer that works at Apple. And she really was the catalyst for me, because she said, you know, Sidney's legit. And that's how I got to Packet, was because of Twitter. And the power of Twitter is no joke. I mean, it brought us together, right? And then it's how I found this amazing job with Equinix and Equinix Metal. So I was the recruiter in charge of growing Packet. And then we hired a team to grow it as we were integrating into Equinix. And Equinix Metal is basically, you know, the very, very much still a kind of a startup feel within a very large corporate environment. And it's really exciting. It's really exciting. And I was fortunate enough to help build the Kubernetes team again, because I did that at GitHub. And most of the infrastructure and the back end. And we grew the company really fast within the first 8 months of being there. And man, what can I say about Equinix Metal? The people. Oh, I almost need to take a minute. They're so good. They are so amazing. They're so smart. They're so out of the box. So like, you know, let's break it. Let's make it better, you know? And I've been really fortunate that I've been able to work with some of the world's most esteemed engineers, like Amy Tobey and Nicole Hubbard and Andrew Hutchins and like, oh God, just, I mean, I could list a million, and I'm so sorry for all the people that I'm missing. Marky Jackson. Oh God. I mean, these are true leaders in the space that bring so much caliber to the organization, not because of what they do in tech, but because who they are as people. You know what I mean? And I could say that for every single person that's on staff, every single person on staff. So, you know, we've had a lot of really amazing people come through and, you know, have since left, but have left a really big mark on us, like a Tim Banks. Oh, Tim Banks, you really should interview him next. I think that you would really enjoy that. He's super dope and one of the best people I know. So anyways, long story short, there's that. So that's how I got to Equinix Metal. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. And you build cloud engineer teams that look like the world.
Yep, I do. Because remember when we talked about earlier about when you're putting a team together, who's in the room, right? Whose voice is missing? Is it somebody like yourself in India that uses the same product but says, hey, here in India, we use it this way, but it could be better in this way because we use it like this, right? Whereas a product in the middle of the Netherlands might be used, the same product might be used differently. So do you have a person who has experience either, being of that culture or being of that side of the world or understanding that side of the world so you can integrate the world into your products, right? It's a smart thing to look at. And that's how you are sure that you create inclusion off the bat, meaning you get a diversified viewpoint. It's not about, through our different cultures and through our different places and through our different mindsets and who we are as people, will create that inherently, as long as you don't have the same person over and over and over and over and over and over and over, right? So like I said, if you have somebody from San Francisco that grew up in San Francisco, that went to a San Francisco school, that went to a San Francisco university, that works only at tech companies in San Francisco, and you have 9 of those types of engineers on one team, how is that mindful of folks in India or folks in Africa or folks that are in New Zealand? Like those are 3 very different places, right? Why would you think that your product that is San Francisco-ized, Silicon Valley-ized, be okay and replicate in those environments without having a voice from there, right? So that's what I mean by, you need to make your engineering teams look like the world, because the world is going to use it. So why not bring everybody into it in the beginning? Because then you get it right from an inclusion perspective, right? And that's not only for hiring, that's viewpoint, that's code sets, that's different experiences. That's all that bubbling beautifulness, right? If you've ever been on an international team, is what a lot of people call it, which I'm not okay with, because these are people, like it's a team. Just call it a team. There's just people in different parts of the world on it. I don't know. I'm just funny that way. But you bake it in. You bake in all these beautiful differences of opinions, which will push the narrative and the edge of what you're producing. That's what that means.
Have you seen my videos on YouTube?
Yes, I've seen, like, I'm gonna be honest, given the holiday season and when we started connecting, I've watched one. But I'm honest, I'm super transparent. I can't help myself. I can't say that I had a whole lot of time, because I've got 3 kids and it was the holidays here in the US. So yes, that is true.
I'm just mentioning. I'm just mentioning it in between, because you said about something that I'm already doing. Yeah.
What?
I mean,
tell me.
I mean, you came to interview without seeing my videos.
Yeah. Because you know what? Why not? Why not just have a cup of coffee with somebody on the other side of the world, just to see?
Yeah.
Just to see who you are. Because you know
Correct.
what? You're important. You're important. I'm important. And now we're important together, right? Pretty neat.
So I just want to mention something. Can you open YouTube and look at my channel?
Because yes, of course.
Yeah. We are talking something which is similar to what you are saying.
What part am I going to?
You're talking about diversity.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that's a big thing for you, because that's what you create online.
Yes.
Hold on one second. Okay, all of a sudden Elmo popped up. Have you seen that Elmo thing that's been going around? I don't know. There's this crazy Elmo thing that's going on right now. Hold on. Okay. That's Amazon Music. But what you do is you create the same thing through your YouTube channel, which is, I know enough about you to say this. You create the inclusion by giving and bringing different viewpoints from different parts of the world into your podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, keep doing that. Because you know what? There's not enough people who are willing to put themselves out there for fear of whatever, to just have a freaking conversation with somebody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, remember, be kind. I've got something to learn from you. You know what I mean? Everybody has the opportunity to learn from each other if they allow it. Just open up a little bit. The world shouldn't be as scary as we make it out to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You
I love it.
you just see the video, YouTube channel of mine. You saw
Yep.
the podcast. Just
Mm-hmm.
open it and see the titles and the interviews that I did.
Yes, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Smart
Hold
Share
on,
His
hold on.
Thoughts YouTube channel.
I know I'm getting there. I'm so sorry. Okay. Thoughts on YouTube channel. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh. Bill Riley. Yeah. Okay. Air Force Lieutenant. Yes. I love that. Let's see. Founder of Speed Lancer. I mean, yes. So important. Danish and Microsoft MVP and GitHub start. Well, isn't that something? That's hilarious. I love it. Lars. So like it's amazing. Look at this. I mean, yes, I'm doing this online live. Hi everybody. This is what, it's like we're just co-working right now, right? I mean, come on, let's be honest. And yeah, information security, content creator. This is what you're doing online. You're creating inclusion. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Do more. Just do it. I mean, this is one of the beautiful pieces about this. You got to keep doing this stuff. That's why I came here, because I saw that there was such a difference. I saw that you have lots of representation from lots of different places and lots of places in the world. I mean, it's really amazing. You can't stop doing this stuff. You got to promise me.
Yes. I'll put your words in my mind.
Okay, good. Hopefully they don't haunt you.
So
so
I can
yeah,
understand. So I can understand this diversity. What you are saying. The working environment. The scenarios that you understand. The things that you learn from different people in different parts of the world.
yeah.
Can I say this is your success secret?
Yes. Yeah. Is you create inclusion, you create opportunity for people by just seeing them for who they are, but also meeting them where they are. You can't expect somebody to be here if they can only be here, so you got to meet them where they are. Don't expect all these lofty things and I'm gonna no, just hey, how you doing today? Ask a normal question and being like, okay, today we're gonna do this. No, check in first. Hey, how you doing? You doing good? Yeah, awesome. Cool, let's do this. Or no, I'm not feeling so hot today. I don't know about you, but if I don't feel good, you're not getting good production out of me. Because it's the human part we forget about. What's wrong with all of us? We all know how to be human, right? And I think most of us know when you're being, excuse my French, but a shithead, right? You can pretty much smell that a mile away, And have I been known to be one? Yes. But probably for good reason. You know what I mean? Not for bad, but because something needs course correcting, right? But, that's what we have to do, is just truly remain human. Don't forget that we're human beings and that we're complex people. We're complex animals. We're complex things. And we all have different needs. You can't silver bullet one thing. You can't say, oh, everybody on this team needs this. Well, you could say everybody on this team needs money and security and healthcare. And yes, but what about psychological safety? It means different things to different people, right? You gotta be with that. You gotta understand that. You gotta see that. You gotta meet people where they are. And I think that's another thing too. Secret sauce. swirl it in there, put some salt on it. I don't know.
So you create teams. So what are the qualities that you see in order to select them? What are the things that you observe in them which will create the productivity of the company?
Who they are as people. Period. Skill sets are skill sets are skill sets. It's who they are as people and what they need from the company to be successful, and and matching what the company needs from them to be successful, right? And you do that by listening, because nobody does that anymore either. They're thinking about the response before they're taking in the information and really digesting it and saying, I heard you, instead of halfway hearing somebody and just thinking about how you're going to respond and be smarter or be more whatever, right? Slow down, man. Listen to people. Listen, because in that, you will get what you need. If you don't listen, problems start, because then you're just bulldozing and running people over, and ego. That's where ego starts to run the train, right? In my perspective. That's my perspective.
Have you wrote any book?
No. No. Nobody wants me writing a book, because there's going to be all sorts of skeletons flying out, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, because I'm transparent. I'll tell you the way it is. I'll tell you my experiences straight up, because storytelling is how you learn, and how you learn about organizations and environments.
So what you learned from all these experiences?
That the world sometimes is a real shitty place. And if you can just be the light for somebody, it will make the difference. So stay in the light. That's what I've learned.
So what impact you created on this planet with your presence?
That's a really interesting question. Well, from what I hear that I change people's lives through giving them the power of their own voice, by giving them the tools to fight for what they need in the offer and in the recruiting process, which gives them the opportunity to either make more money, have a better position, have a better match, be happy at work. Maybe that's the most important, right? That's the impact. That's the impact. That I give people the opportunity from underserved environments to be able to walk through the front door at the company and have the opportunity to be seen and heard for who they are in this process, and maybe get the job. But if you don't create that open door, you're not going to have the inclusion, right? You're not going to give people from all underrepresented parts of the world the opportunity to walk through the door. Because if you only let the people who live in San Francisco, went to San Francisco schools, went to different, like that, if you only give those people the opportunity, that's privilege. And I'm not that person, right? I want everyone to have the opportunity to shine, 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 because they will in their own right. And whatever the process settles out, that's the right thing, because you're giving everybody the opportunity to be seen and heard in process.
Can
What do you
I
think
can
about
I
that?
okay, can I call you as a god because you're talking about something which is universal, which is universally accepted philosophy.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. We've lost sight of that. But I don't think you could call me that. That's really.
Modern god.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I just, like, my imposter syndrome can't take that. I'm sorry. But that is a really amazing thing to say to me. So thank you. I'm grateful.
So what do you love in yourself?
I love that I take no shit and I call it like it is. And it's even to a point where people get unhappy about it, because the truth hurts. And I want people to be that for me. So I'm that for them. in a kind way. That's the difference. Remember, kindness. You can still give people really critical feedback in a kind manner instead of down your nose and now, if you're like, hey, this is how I feel. This is what I, that's it.
Few experiences that you had with your mother that you cannot forget.
Do I? Oh, God. The last time I said goodbye to her. I'll never forget that.
When was that?
December 21st, 2021. No, 2020. Goodness gracious. Sorry. I will never forget that moment. I was able to see her before she passed. And in a world of COVID, that was not possible at that point. But I was lucky enough with a miracle to be able to see her about an hour before she passed. I'll never forget that.
So
sorry.
What is?
Not sorry. This is what love looks like.
I can understand.
Yeah. This is what love looks like.
I'm sorry to make you feel like this, but
No.
I just wanted to.
This is beautiful. This is love. This is one thing that I want to tell you. The reason why it hurts this bad is because I was loved so much by her. That's why. And that makes me happy, even though my eyes are crying. I can't believe that that's going on. But again, I'm a human being, right? And this is my mom, like this big stuff. So the reason why it hurts this bad is because she loved me so much, and I loved her just as hard. So that's what this is. This is love falling out of my face. That's what she would say. And don't apologize. Don't apologize, because remember, death is part of all of us. We will all experience it in some form. So I'm okay being a human being about it right now in front of the world. Even though some people would think it's embarrassing. No, this is what love looks like.
So what are those thoughts or those experiences that you cannot forget that you spent with your mother?
Outside of the last time I saw her, I think it would be all the times that she's helped me see the good in people when all I wanted to see was the bad. Right? I will never forget those conversations because they made me who I am today. Her and my father. Yeah. And my family. All of those conversations. I mean, I could sit here for hours and tell you what they are, but that's the most common denominator, is her ability to help me see the good in people, even when I wanted not to.
What is that particular thought that she says to you always that you are missing now?
Oh, God. Go get him, sweetie. Because that's what I do. I go get him.
I can feel you. I can understand what you're going to do. But let's talk about something else.
Okay. I mean, we can still talk about whatever. I mean, just because my face is crying doesn't mean that we should end. We're good. It's human stuff, right? Didn't we come on here to talk about being human?
Yes.
You're getting all of it with me.
Yeah. So I like your tattoo.
Oh,
on your
thank
hand.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I got this for my mom.
Wow.
Yeah. Let me see how I can do this. So her email was cranb She loved cranberries,
Okay.
and she was a beekeeper. So I got this 6 months after she died.
Okay.
And then I got the other side from my dad, which is the anchor, because he worked on the Nautilus nuclear sub as a steel metal worker. And then my whole family's from New England and Rhode Island. And so this is my parents' favorite lighthouse. Where is it? Oh, there it is. My parents' favorite lighthouse in Rhode Island. It's Point Judith.
Yeah.
And then the lobster is for me and my team lobster, which is a story I guess I could tell. I don't know. We've been on for an hour.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I guess we could keep going, but the lobster's for me, and I will just say team lobster for all my team lobster. There's I'll just tell you. Okay. I was told by a very, very, very good friend of mine, Marky Jackson, when I was going through some really hard things, that there's a lobster theory, and I might get this right, Marky. I'm sorry if I get it wrong. The lobster has to go through a change, a metamorphosis, by breaking its shell every 6 to 8 months. It's how they grow, right? So they have an exoskeleton. Can you imagine for a moment what that feels like inside when you're trying to break through a shell? How hard that is, how much it hurts, how tight it is when you outgrow something. That's the theory. You are going to go through something really hard, really tight. It's going to hurt real bad, but you're going to break it open like the lobster breaks the shell open. They're vulnerable for 2 weeks, and then they start to grow the next size shell. And that, to me, is impactful because I am the lobster. I have to go through really painful stuff to be vulnerable, to grow a bigger shell. So that's why I have a lobster. And my mom was from Maine, which Maine is a part of the United States in New England where lobsters are really famous for. So it's a dual kind of reasoning thing for me.
So I can see two sides of you. A person who is completely into technology and being logical, and a person who is a human being who understands the purity of the emotion, and I can see that in your eyes.
It's what you get with me. I don't know how else to be. What do you think? Has this been fun or what?
It's balanced.
I try. I'm not great at it all the time, but I try. That's all I can do. And be kind.
I'm sure a lot of your qualities will affect a lot of people who listens to you, and may help them in doing things better, and you'll be not only from your country, from my country, from any country who will listen to you, will definitely understand there is a person who is in this part of the world and is feeling this and is going through this, and she's very talented, and she's into different things, and she talks about different things, and whatever you said is universally accepted.
It should be, because that's the way we should be.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
It's that simple. We make it way harder than it needs to be, in my perspective.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So one last question.
Yeah.
You as a person who hires people, tell me about that.
Ooh, God. What part? Do we have another 3 hours? Gosh, there's so many different ways we can take this, right? I'll say this as my final closing thought, maybe. I am very, very privileged to sit in a place of influence when it comes to working with people's futures. And I don't take that lightly. I make it almost like it's my own experience to ensure that every single person gets what they need. Because remember, everybody's different, has different needs, and you need to meet people where they are, right? In my hiring experience, I've negotiated, I've closed pay gap inequities. I'm known for it. I've given people the opportunity to feel powerful in the interview process through their own experiences and being like, I'm pretty rad because I'm a cool human and I'm really smart too. And I've got a lot to learn. A lot of people don't want to open up and they just want to make it really tactical, which is okay. But I think with me and my experiences is that I help the human open up. Because remember, you hire the whole human. You don't just hire a piece of paper. And if you do, that's a problem. So I help people really find their voice. And that's what I do. I don't hire people. I mean, yes, I do. At the end of the day, I hire people. But what I do is I give people the ability to shine and use their voice and be heard in the process, because that's where the good stuff is. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I got you.
Okay, good. I think that's the best way to say it, because I can say a million things, but that's it. That's what I do. Yes, I hire people, but
wonderful.
It's about the person.
Wow. So the million things that you want to say, can you tell in a single line or single sentence?
Yes. When you're negotiating salary, ask what the company range is, period. And if they don't tell you, that is a flag. Because, well, in the United States anyways, it is, you are able to ask what level is the role, what are the expectations of the level, and what does this pay? Never disclose your salary first. Don't do it. Ask them what the position pays. That's my golden nugget for y'all. If you can, remember, stand in your power. Know that you're a badass and that you deserve it. You deserve it. Don't put yourself out there without letting you know that you deserve everything that everyone else is going to ask for, right? What's the level? What's the responsibilities of the level to make sure that you meet them? Because remember, review is going to come around. So make sure that you know exactly what you're walking into as far as like what you have to achieve. So you can make your bonus, so you can get a raise, so you can get promoted, so you can feel good about your work, whatever it is. And ask what the position pays. That's it.
So I want last observation of yours about me. You already said, but still I want to know, because you're most influential person, and you made things possible. You worked everywhere. Being yourself, you achieved whatever you want, and you're doing it, and you're enjoying it. So, and you said whatever I feel, what I follow, what I believe, being in different part of the world, being in South India, being in Hyderabad city, I connected with whatever you said. Before meeting you, I was the same what you said, but I don't know why God connected you and me now, and making us talk like this.
There are no accidents in the world, in the universe. There just aren't. There's a reason. We'll figure it out later.
Don't know.
You know? You never know. Life is funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
This has been great. Yay!
So I want your observation about you, because you already said I want to know, because I did masters in software engineering and I did graduation in computer science and engineering, and I'm doing this. Yes, I'm doing this video. I created this podcast. I created podcast everywhere in all the platforms, and I have YouTube channel and I have websites where I write
Mm-hmm.
content, and I do all. I use all the communication medium to connect with every human being in who are into every profession, not only
I
technology.
love it.
Just trying to know their experiences, what they felt, what they experienced, what worked for them, what made them to take that decision in their life. I'm trying to relate that with the technology.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I get a job after I have completed my masters. When I get a job, I want to use all these experiences in creating something very big and help company at the same time help the planet for creating some positive energy and
I'm going to stop you because you're already doing that right now by doing this. So don't lose sight of that. You're already doing that, right?
so
Right.
you worked in different places, you have lot of
Mm-hmm.
experience,
Uh-huh.
uh, you worked on different projects. So what is your observation about my work?
Well, what I think that you need to do is really get into the open source communities as well. You know what I mean? Cloud and, you know, you should I mean, obviously you've got GitHub and start posting there. Very soft spot in my heart for GitHub, but that's how you get a lot of visibility in your code sets and start contributing start contributing because that forward motion is going to come back somehow within the environment and in the community. Just put yourself out there and through your code. Let people help you. It's exactly what you need to do. And Twitter is in a beautiful place, especially tech Twitter. So when you're ready for a role, come knocking, I'll help you.
Awesome. That's a big
Okay?
thing for me, and it's a great conversation with you. I'm sure I got affected because of your influence, and also I'm sure people will learn a lot of things from you, and I'm sure you will continue doing the great things that you're doing and do what you love, and be happy and make people happy. And like you said, be kind. It's a great thing that you said. Be kind. That works. That made you possible. I'm sure that works for everybody, and I hope it will help a lot of people. And I hope your mom travels with you in your entire life, and also in the form of you, she contributes. She contributes to the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. What an
Can I?
amazing conversation.
Yeah, go on.
Just what an amazing conversation. This has been really good for me. So thank you for the opportunity.
So can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Of course.
And also, can I put this video and audio clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Of course.
Yeah, thank you, Sydney, for your time. And we missed 3 times. Now you came and you said I enjoyed a lot, and I shared this experience with my mother, being very happy. And,
Yeah. Well,
thank
I'm
you.
so excited to see where this goes and continue our friendship because now we're friends.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy your night. This has really been great for me. And my gosh, an hour and 13 minutes just flew by, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, oh. Well, take care of yourself. Have a fabulous weekend. Um, and you know where to find me if you need anything.
Sure. I'm sure with taking you as an inspiration. Uh, Even one person can achieves whatever they want. It's a big achievement for me as a podcaster, as a YouTuber, as a storyteller, as a
Mhm.
content creator.
Yeah, I love it. Keep going. This is important work.
And I like
Okay.
your tattoo. I'll put something someday.
Thank you. It's very true. It took me a long time to put this on my arm, but I'm so happy I did it. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Sydney. Yeah, thank you again.
All right. Well, have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful evening. And thanks again for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.